How's it going? Today, I'm talking about Proof of Time Half Marathon Training, Week 13. This is Running to the Castle, a podcast for slow, back-of-the-pack Run Disney runners on a journey to running magical miles. Join me, Dr. Allie, as I share the secrets I've gathered as a runner, doctor of physical therapy, and coach. You'll learn the exact ways I get my clients to the castle strong, have a bigger buffer ahead of the balloon ladies, and have time to stop for character photos. Keep listening if your goal is to PR in fun, cross the finish line without feeling broken, and have energy to enjoy the Disney parks. Overall, solid week of getting the workouts done. I got 2 speed workouts, 2 cross training, 1 long run, and 2 rest days. And I got 3 whole body strength workouts done. That's 100% of my cardio workouts and 100% of my strength workouts. I am not sure if I've hit that before. So solid week. But remember, life gets lifey. The bare minimum is not 5 cardio workouts a week. So don't get too bummed out when you can't hit all of the workouts. And 2 strength workouts, whole body strength workouts, solid. And I will repeat this over and over and over again because so many runners get so bummed out when their training is not perfect. Perfection will kill your mood and it will kill your training. Some runners will say like, well, I didn't get it done today and the whole week's blown. And don't think that way. If you don't get it done, no problem. Shuffle things around and do what you can with what you have. You're not a professional runner. You're not an elite runner. Running is not your whole life. That's how I take it. Running is not my whole life. It is part of my life. And in some seasons of my life, I can run more than other times. Other times it's a whole lot of rest. That's okay. I've had years where it was more rest than run. That's okay. You can come back to it later. Okay, so Monday I did a 10K race pace level 6. So leveling up to level 6 means it's now a 50-minute workout, which means that the tempo run is 30 minutes itself. This was rough. It was a struggle. It was an all out. And that's okay. You know, it's okay to label your workouts that it was rough and a struggle. They're not all going to be great. Remember, we have the 30-30-30 rule. 30% of the time, they're going to be neutral. They're going to be, yep, not good, not bad. 30% of the time, they're going to be rough. And 30% of the time, they're going to be awesome. They're not all going to be the same. What's important is give it what you have that day and go from there. Learn from that run. What could be different? Was it my fueling that needs to be different? Was it the temperature that needs to be different? Should I be doing this one on the treadmill versus outside or outside versus the treadmill? Make changes. If you're constantly having one particular type of workout or one particular workout day is always rough. Check it out and see what could be different. So this was new, doing 50 minutes, 10K race pace. So it was all race pace and my walking. And my walk was supposed to be faster than it was, but in order to hit that race pace, I had to slow it down. So I slowed it down to a solid number for me, which is fine. It also is easier for me to hit that number because it's 3.3. That's easier for me to hit on the treadmill than it is for me to hit a variety of different numbers. Based on how Planet Fitness's numbers are, or their treadmills are rather, that's just easier for me because I have to hit the buttons and then I have to hit the check mark to be like, okay, yes, I meant to do this. Whereas my treadmill at home, I just hit the buttons. So it's a couple of extra steps. It's easier for me to do it like 3.3. Do what you need to do to hit those running paces. I did use my fan again, which was so awesome, but it died before my last 2 rounds. And oh my gosh, what a difference that fan makes. So now I'm going to have to make sure that I plug it in after each time I use it so that it's well charged and ready to go for the next workout. Before my workout, I drank a Coke and I had some graham crackers about 30 to 40 minutes before my workout. So this was about 55 grams of carbs leading up to it. Then I had my scratch and liquid IV combo for the run. And I did psych myself out a little bit for this run, and that's kind of a bummer. But I was starting to worry about how long each interval is. So I brought my iPad again. Last week I left it at home, and that was no good. I just kept checking my watch. I was getting in my head, so I brought it this time so I could watch. I watched lyrics of my songs that were on my playlist. I just watched the lyrics. I didn't sing them because I was going too fast to be able to do that, but then I could do that. And then I had my Google spreadsheet of my training schedule, and I just focused on what was happening in the moment. I need to tone it back. I need to not listen to myself psyching myself out. And one of the ways that I can do that is just focus on the run I'm in right then. Focus on the interval I'm in right then. Don't get ahead of myself and think, oh, I'm adding 5 extra minutes. How am I going to do this? No. It's positivity. Once we start getting into that negative mindset, it just takes over. It is all consuming, all encompassing. And we can't do that. You and me, we can't do that. Think positive thoughts. I can do this for 1 minute at a time. Take it 30 seconds or 1 minute at a time, not even a whole mile at a time, not even a whole round at a time. In this moment, my run walk intervals are 2 minutes, 1 minute. So what can I do for this time frame? And I even tone it down even more. What can I do in 1 minute at a time? I scheduled in optional walk breaks partway through, and I did take that. And I did fight the urge to look at my watch. It was like, nope, just wait for my watch to beep at me. Keep going, pay attention to the lyrics. And I even set it up so that I couldn't see the timeline of how long that song was. I added the heartbeat song and fight song to my playlist to make sure that I was using it. And I had Lose Yourself on Eminem again. It just find the songs that pump you up and keep you going, help you push through. Definitely couldn't sing them out loud, but just focusing on having something to look at was really positive. On Tuesday, I did a cross training. So I did paced walking, and I did this walk outside. So I got up early enough to take Levi for a walk. So he's doing this fun thing where he's super stubborn, and he knows that if he doesn't go potty in the backyard, he gets a walk. And with it being so hot lately, he hasn't been getting walks. So he has been stubborn, and he has been holding out on us and not going to the bathroom in the backyard. So woke up early enough, took him for a quick walk in the afternoon the other day, and he absolutely loved it. So I decided, okay, on Tuesday, I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to walk him again. We woke up at 4:30 to be able to get out the door before it got too hot. We got out the door before 6:30. So that is a solid win in my book because I love just staying in bed, moseying, and taking my time in the morning. And so after 40 minutes and 1.1 miles of Sniffari, we finally went back. He did not want to go back to the house, but I convinced him. And then I just turned right around and I walked outside. And it was still pretty hot for my pace. So my paced walking, it wasn't as fast as I could have done it on the treadmill, but that's okay because with my heart rate already being elevated, that will get me overall faster in the long run because my body doesn't know whether it's working hard because I'm walking fast or if it's working hard because it's hot out. All it knows is I have to pump this amount of blood right now in this time frame. And so getting that paced walk, even though it technically was slower than what I could have done on the treadmill, it's still a solid walk. So Wednesday, another cross training day, and I did an incline walk. I did strength first on this day because it was one of those days where if I didn't do it first, I was afraid I wasn't going to do it at all. So I got it done first, and then I made sure to go and walk on the treadmill. And I'm aiming to really focus on strength in the next 6 weeks at the time of when this workout happened for my race, leading up to the taper before my race. So I walked on the treadmill 10 minutes first as a warm up. Then I went over, did my strength, and I aimed for 45 minutes. So I added a third set of all of the exercises because before I was doing about 30 to 35 minutes with 2 sets of the exercises. I really wanted to hit 45 minutes. So I added that third set and it took 56 minutes. Now, of course, this is with breaks. I take breaks in between the sets, in between the exercises. And overall, it was really good. So I hit my goal and I surpassed it. After that, got back on the treadmill and I did my progression incline increase starting at 2%. And every 5 minutes, I increased by 1%, getting all the way up to a 6% incline. Afterward, went home, gave Levi a bath. So that was another workout in itself. And overall, solid workout day. Thursday, I took a rest day. Okay, short little interruption. If you're listening to this, you're not going to notice much except for I may have abruptly stopped talking. If you're watching this, you notice I look completely different. My hair is up, no makeup. I'm wearing something different, and Levi is in the background. So I tried to record this episode really quickly before I had to go into an all-day meeting, and I thought I could get it done, and I just couldn't squeak it by. So working with what I got here. So thank you so much for your patience with this small, minor interruption. So now we are on our way to Friday. We are on Friday of this proof of time training week. So on Friday, I tried something different and I felt pretty good going into this run. I was excited for what it was going to be. And I had a rest day the day before. I was super productive with training plans for my runners. I was great at what I ate, what I fueled with. And so I felt like I was ready for this run. So this run, I tried run only for my 10K pace workout. So this was kind of a tempo run, right? Because I'm still trying to maintain a pace that's faster than my easy pace, but because I'm still trying to maintain a pace that's faster than my easy pace, and specifically the 10K race pace. So a couple of episodes ago, maybe even in the beginning of this episode, I talked about how I noticed that I could run significantly slower if I just ran straight through for my 10K race. Why not give it a try? I still have plenty of time before my race. Why not give it a try to see how it feels? So then I have all of the information to decide on race day, do I want to do run walk intervals? Do I want to run straight through? I can pay attention to my watch and be like, okay, well, if I am running at X pace, I know that I'm going to feel great the whole time. Or I know I'm going to need a walk break at this time. Or I know this, that, or the other. I'm going to have a lot more information. And this is one of the reasons why I recommend runners pay attention to their paces. Not because I care about the actual pace. I want you to be as in tuned with your body so that we can make decisions together. You pay attention to what your body is feeling. I analyze it. You can tell me week over week, this is how you feel with this kind of pace. Or week over week, this is how you feel after this kind of workout. Week over week, this is how you feel when you eat this, when you drink this, when you have gotten this much sleep. You do the testing and writing it down. I do the analysis on it because what I don't want to happen is I don't want somebody to look at a workout in a vacuum, meaning looking at the single workout by itself, the single pace by itself, because that's not realistic. We don't live in a vacuum. We don't have all of these variables controlled for. It's not ever one single variable that actually is the only thing moving, even though I do talk about keeping one variable the thing that's moving, right? I say that as in only actively change this one. Try and keep all of the others the same. But accidents happen. It doesn't always come to fruition. It doesn't always happen, right? So if you can change just one thing at a time, that's the best. And then track it. Don't analyze anything in the moment. Take the data in, put it in your back pocket, and then in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks, in 6 months, after taking in data after data after data, week after week after week, putting it in your back pocket, and then looking at it. Looking at one workout by itself just tells you one workout by itself. It doesn't tell you any trends. It doesn't tell you, consistencies, inconsistencies. It doesn't tell you whether it was a good fuel day or a bad fuel day or a good pace day or a bad pace day. You may feel good or bad on that day, but you may find in the weeks, oh, every time I drink a Coke before a run, I feel great. I mark this as a solid workout. It felt good. So take in the data. So that's what I'm doing with this run where I'm only running. The goal was only running. I'm not going to take just one workout, just this one workout as the end all be all. I'm going to take this in and I'm going to try the workout a couple of times and see, okay, am I consistently feeling this way? Is that good? Is that bad? And I'm going to analyze the data. But just like any science project, we take in all of the data first and then we analyze it later. And when somebody is doing a research project in the healthcare field, for sure, but any kind of science experiment, they have a period of time where all they do is take in data. That's all they do. And then they have another chunk of time where they analyze it. You can't analyze data as it's coming in because you don't have all of the information. So anyway, this was run only. I was feeling pretty good, solid eating day the day before. So leading up to it, I felt solid. I did start off with having my fruit protein smoothie and some graham crackers for breakfast before I got out the door at 7:30, which again, unheard of for me. Said it earlier in the week that I like sleep. I like laying in bed. I like moseying in the morning. That's what I like to do. And I can do it because I have Levi and I have my husband. My husband's pretty self-sufficient, right? Levi is kind of self-sufficient. We don't have a doggy door or anything, so he needs to be let out, but he is very on top of it, whether he's being stubborn or not. We know when he's going to go to the bathroom. He's very routine with his eating. So I can get up, go make my cup of coffee, and I can get back into bed. So it does get hard for me to get out the door before 7:30. And I did do that because I did have a hair appointment this day. So I wanted to get my run in before I went to my hair appointment and possibly strength train. So I needed to get there early. And I did this, like I said, I did this as a run only. I did put a 3-minute walk break at the halfway point. I programmed that into my watch this week. And in the beginning, when I started, I actually had to double check my pace because on the treadmill for this run this particular day, it felt too slow. And it was right, so I kept it. Remember, even if it feels slow in the beginning, if that's what's programmed, keep it for that day. If you're in Stronger, Faster, Finisher with me, talk about it with me. If by the end of it, it still felt slow, we can talk about whether that was an accurate pace on that list. Because I make mistakes when I program things in. Stuff happens. That's okay. And we just adjust. So keep it as is on that day, and then we will fix it. It won't ruin your training. It won't hold you back or anything like that. It was a good thing that I kept it because by the 12:30 mark, I was ready to take a break. And honestly, I probably could have kept pushing, but the goal today was to run 12 minutes and 30 seconds. So that's the halfway point straight through before a break. Unlike last week where I had to pause my watch at different points. And so even though it felt like I kept going, my goal that day was, I had already planned it, run for 12 minutes and 30 seconds before any kind of break. And if I had kept going, I may have been able to run longer than 12 and a half minutes, but I may not have been able to do it for the full push through on that second half. So maybe on another day, I make the adjustment where I run until I can't anymore. and then take a walk break and then run whatever the remainder was. But today it was run 12:30 straight through to see how it felt. Remember, I'm taking in all of this data so that I can notice, okay, well, when I run straight through, I need a 12-minute and 30-second. When I run straight through 12 minutes and 30 seconds, I need a 3-minute walk break. Or maybe in the future, it will be I can run 15 minutes straight through and then I need a 3-minute walk break. Or what if I need a 6-minute walk break? Does that extra 2.5 minutes of running, is the juice worth the squeeze kind of situation where I run for 2.5 more minutes, but I need 3 extra minutes to recover? Is that going to be worth that? And then I can look at the math of maybe it is, maybe it's not, or maybe I need to know, maybe I find out that I need to run faster if I'm going to take 6 minutes of walking break, right? Because there's the ratio there. If I need to keep an overall pace of like 10 minutes and 10 seconds average pace for this race, it needs to even out between my run and my walk intervals. Or I need to run straight through 10 minutes and 10 seconds the whole time. Can I do that? If not, I need to balance it out with how much I'm walking, how fast I'm walking, how much I'm running, how fast I'm running. So there are multiple things at play, and I don't know how I'm going to feel until I've done it a couple of times. So stick with what's on the plan for that day. If you want to adjust it for next time. And that way, when I go into it, you're making the adjustment with information. You're not just guessing. You're taking the information of, okay, well, last time I felt like I could push through after 12 minutes and 30 seconds. Do we want to just double that and run for 25 minutes? No. Maybe you add 10% more. And so 12 minutes and 30 seconds, at 10% more of that would be 1 minute and like 15 seconds or so. Okay, so now it's 13 minutes and 45 seconds, right? Not even that 15 minutes that just off the top of my head I said to do. That's more than 10%. That would not be a good jump. And so see why we don't do it in the moment, because we need to strategically think about this. And so I'm all about going with the data, trying one thing before you make an adjustment. Last week, I tried to run straight through for the whole time. And whether I can or not, I couldn't last week. And remember, that could be multiple factors, multiple variables: sleep, nutrition, pace, timing. If you're a female, what day of your cycle are you on? Do you have high blood pressure, low blood pressure? Are you symptomatic with those kinds of things? It's not always about the pace in that moment. There are so many factors. I didn't even mention temperature, humidity. So even if you can't do it one day, it doesn't mean you can't do it another day. And especially if you're trying to do that same thing every single time you run, that's why I recommend each run has a different purpose and different paces. Because when you try and hit the exact same pace every run, you won't. And then you'll get frustrated. And it's not necessarily because you can't hit that pace. It could be you didn't get good sleep last night. It could be you didn't eat enough the day before, the morning of, during the run. You aren't hydrating enough. You're dehydrated. You have other stress. The temperature wasn't good. And so if you try and hit that same pace over and over and over and over again, you're going to get frustrated because you won't be able to do it. Even the elite people can't do it every single time. And so that's another reason, besides like the training effect and keeping things interesting, the fact that you won't be able to hit that pace every single time naturally, this keeps things different. So then you are less likely to get frustrated because the pace goal one day is not the same pace goal the next day. The timing goal is not the same as the timing goal of another day. So it ends up being a double whammy when you can't hit that pace and you're frustrated and you'll wear yourself out trying. Don't get into that situation. Okay, so now moving on to the next day. I did my long run And this run was so good. I ended up doing it outside. I did 6.2 miles, 10K, because runDisney did a collab with Brooks, or Brooks did a collab with runDisney, where if you log a 10K, you could be eligible to win a bib at Wine and Dime. And so I don't actually think I'm eligible because I have a healthcare provider status. I can be a medical ambassador. I forget what they call it. And that person is not eligible. But I wanted to at least have done it before I looked even more into, am I actually eligible? Because it also was a distance that was okay for me to be running. Because in the past month leading up to this distance, I had gone higher. I had gone like 7.5, 8 miles. So bringing it down was great. And it's right before my 10K race training starts. So it's still within that time frame that I will be able to recover enough if this doesn't go well. It ended up going really well. It felt super easy. I kept it super easy. And I actually didn't even get the 6.2 miles plus the warm up and cool down, which if you've been following along, you know that's what I recommend. On my Stronger, Faster Finisher plans, everybody for their long run has a specific mileage. That does not include my recommended 10-minute warm up, 10-minute cool down. And depending on how fast you walk, you may do a whole extra mile between the warm up and cool down. So for me, when I do a brisk walk, my 10 minutes ends up being close to half a mile, sometimes more. And I usually have a longer cool down because I usually keep the cool down actually open. So I make sure to do at least 10 minutes. Sometimes it's longer, especially if I'm doing it outside, because I'm not always right near my house with the finish. So by the end of it, I usually am doing the distance for the long run plus a mile. And that's typical. For me, I didn't do that. And that's okay. I did hit my hour 34 minutes that I should have. And I do recommend trying to keep both the anticipated mileage and that time frame as close together as possible. And you also know that I say the slower the better. So even if those two aren't close, if you have hit the long run mileage and you have hit or gone slower, so it takes longer, A++ in my book. So for me, I went slower on this day. And I know that because total with warm up, cool down, and my 6.2 miles, it should have taken me 1 hour, 34 minutes. It took me 1 hour, 34 minutes, but that was including warm up and cool down, but I didn't hit 6.2 miles in it, like for that long run distance. I don't think that made sense. Either way, it's still an A++ because I hit at least 6.2 miles between warm up, cool down, and long run. It worked and it felt so good. And I got out early. So I got out before it was super duper hot here in Las Vegas. We've been hitting the 110s, 115s. So got out before 6:30 and it felt great. I just didn't want to do this one on the treadmill. And I actually ran the first 2.5 miles directly in my neighborhood. So my neighborhood is being built up. They are just expanding Las Vegas like crazy. And so it's still a construction zone. So I haven't actually gone through my whole neighborhood because it's just unsafe to go through when they haven't paved. They just recently paved probably the week before this long run that I took. They had just finally paved the last parts of the neighborhood roads. I think they might still have 1 or 2 parts to finish up, but it's just not safe because of nails and just construction debris, like wood pallets with nails sticking up out of them. So I just don't explore too much. Anyway, I did that and 2.5 miles in my community. And I did that specifically in case I didn't feel well. I would be close to home. I would be able to walk home because Royal can't come pick me up. So if I'm out there 2.5 miles away, I still have to take 2.5 miles to get home. And so I ended up keeping it close. And I utilized my house for my first bathroom stop. I refilled my water and it was great. I did freeze my electrolyte drink the night before. So if you want something really cold for a hot workout, I recommend filling up, like making your electrolyte drink the night before, filling up the bottle that you're going to take halfway or partway, maybe not even halfway, and then laying it on an angle or on its side. So then all of the ice freezes along the side of it, not the bottom. And then you fill up your bottle the rest of the way. So this didn't work in my favor too much. I mean, it worked, but I ended up filling it up too much such that the ice didn't melt. And so the frozen part didn't melt enough. And I ran out of hydration. I ran out of my fluid sooner than I normally would have, sooner than I would have liked. So it was good to come back to my house, be able to make another electrolyte mixed drink and put it back in there and use not such cold water. So then it did start melting the ice. But it was really convenient to just have the house right there to be able to use my own bathroom, have the hydration, not have to fiddle with the water bubbler, the drinking fountain, and trying to get the angle just right so I can get all the water in. Because we have top-down fillers, like bottle fillers at some locations, but not every location. So it was really nice to be able to have that. And then I came home, I stretched, I used my massage gun, drank my protein drink, drank some more, a strawberry lemonade drink for some carbs. And I pulled up my run as I was stretching. This was the first time in forever, I don't know how long, that I had 0 minutes in zone 5. And I even compared this long run to a similar long run last year. So last year's was like maybe 6.5 miles. This one was like 6.3. So I'd say that's comparable. And it was roughly the same time frame. It was within 5 days of each other from last year to this year. Temperature last year was cooler. And this year, my heart rate was lower. My zone 5 running was 0 minutes. And it felt easy this time. So it took a whole year for this comparison. Now, I don't necessarily compare year to year. It also wouldn't be a great comparison all the time for me to compare last year to this year for training, because I did spend some time training last year in more of a variety of places, Utah and traveling and things like that. So, but this was Las Vegas. This was here. And it is interesting now that I've just said this out loud. It is interesting because when I was running in Utah, I was running in elevation. So that should have, of course, shoulds, don't should yourself, right? But that should have given me a leg up last year, because training in elevation changes how your blood cells, how many red blood cells you have. Your red blood cells are the ones that take oxygen and transport it throughout your body. So that's why if you follow cycling, I don't know if runners do it, maybe runners do it. They'll actually train in elevation, take out some of their red blood cells, and then before a race, they put their own red blood cells back in. It's a type of doping. I don't think it's allowed, but it is something that people do to give them an edge. And you would think, now that I've said this, you would think that last year I would have been better trained. And so that's really interesting to see the difference a year makes. And I went faster in some segments. Now, I did different run walk intervals this year, so that's a variable, but it was hotter this year. My paces were faster this year, and I had 0 minutes in zone 5. So I'm going to continue analyzing that to just see, really to just see how cool it is, right? But to see if there's something I can pick out, and maybe I'll start looking at a couple of different training runs to see some comparisons. But that was really cool to finally have 0 minutes in zone 5. So when you're training and doing a long run, you may get into zone 5 every once in a while. You want to keep it minimal. You want to keep zone 4 and zone 5 training on a long run to a small amount. But remember, zone 5 could be because you got scared from a dog barking at you. And it's not necessarily because of your running pace. You could have been stressed out. There are so many different factors. So that's one of the reasons why I don't recommend training by zones and you train by your paces instead. But it is still cool to retroactively look at this and say, oh, look at no zone 5 minutes. And also don't get too upset if some of the time is spent in zone 4 or zone 5. You do want long runs to be the majority of the time zone 2, zone 1, and some of zone 3 is fine as well. You could even have more zone 3 minutes, but really trying to keep those zone 4s and zone 5s to a really, really small amount. And then finally on Sunday, it was a rest day. So solid workout week. I did 3 strength workouts, and actually on Friday, I didn't mention this, when I did that 10K tempo run that was only running and I had a time constraint, I actually didn't do all of my workout for strength training. I did some of it and I kept it circuit style. So circuit style means I do one set of each exercise before I do a second set of any of the exercises. And I didn't do any of my dumbbell workouts. I decided to do one round of my machines. And when I still had time for more machines and would still have time for stretching, I decided to do another round of machines as opposed to doing the dumbbells. The plan was after I did my long run on Saturday, I was going to do dumbbells. And that didn't happen. I didn't want to. And that's okay because I had gotten to those same exercises twice earlier in the week. So day 3 would have been a bonus for me, is a bonus for me. And I got the majority of workout number 3 done. Please take what you've learned in this episode and use it to adjust your strategy for your RunDisney race training. It's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things in the right balance so you can finish strong, not broken. And if you want personalized guidance specific to your race, your injury history, your running background, and your goals, that's exactly what we do inside Stronger, Faster, Finisher. You'll get step-by-step instructions and a proven system to help you train smarter from start to finish. Join the waitlist today to be the first to know when it opens next. That's all for now. Talk to you soon.